I finally got around to displaying my plaque. I've only had it a year. It used to sit over there just off screen. So it has been like around. But look, hey, I'm like a YouTuber now, eh? Hello wonderful humans of the internet, how are we? My name is Sam Scott-Thorne and I am a vocal coach based in Glasgow. Now if you'd like to meet and explore your voice a little more, you can find me on sstvocals.com. You can also find me on Patreon and various other social media platforms, and I'll put the handles down below and over there. Over there. I had no direction, so it just had to turn into sludge. No other option. Now, if you'd like to consider becoming a patron, you have access to things like early release of reaction, you can fast track reactions, become a reaction, there's special roles on my Discord server, and you have access to all sorts of bonus content like my Vocal Anatomy 101 series where you learn how the voice works, outtakes, and wee rants, all sorts of stuff. So consider becoming a patron and help shape my channel. Okay, so it has been a minute since we listened to Morissette. So I went and had a look and saw what has she been up to. And there's a live band performance of Gusto Konang Bumitaw. I hope I said that right. So I've never heard the song. I have no idea what I'm in for. Let's just go and take a listen. I'm still ill, by the way. If you watch in order, you'll know that I am ill. So I still am, so voice isn't tip top. Just keep that in mind before anyone starts slagging me off in the comments. Right, let's go. Very nice start. Now you'll hear that there's a really aspirate tone to her voice there. That's where more air comes through the folds than normal and creates a breathy sound. But there was points where her folds came back together, a little bit more closure, and gave a cleaner, kind of bolder sound. Now if you were to kind of put that on a spectrum, you've got here the pressure kind of builds up a little bit. Again, voice is not 100%, so you might need to take that with a pinch of salt. But what's happening there is the folds are letting more air through and then they're closing, and then they're letting more air through and then they're closing, and you get this swell of intention. So if she's going you get that kind of movement off that sound. Really clever. Such a nice gentle way to start, but then put hints of strength through it. Lovely. Okay, again, I promise I'm not going to pause that much, but she did the exact same thing in reverse. So now she's got that full tone sound that she's mixing in tiny little bits of aspirate sound into. So it's strength and then peppered with vulnerability. Very, very clever. Expertly done. Wow. So we got a little bit of that Morissette cry in there, which is kind of her trademark at this point, I feel. Everyone talks about the cry, and it was so delicately just folded into the mix there. Gorgeous. What I found quite interesting though is that sound for the da 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 da. It wasn't a projected sound. You almost felt it in the back of the mask, so the sound felt like it was coming from further back than a forward projected sound, which is a really interesting way to do it, because I know that she can belt for days and she has that forward place sound. She almost kind of did a little bit through there, but she's kind of keeping this performance restrained while still allowing her voice to get to these places that shows she is not playing. Very good. Morissette! Come on now. Leave some vocals for the rest of us. Those cries almost became like little tonal shifts. Almost like a little cry riff, if you like. I've never really heard that before, I don't think. That was insane. Insane. She's starting to add more texture through her voice now. I feel like that's coming from her arytenoids. Those open and close your vocal folds for a really, really basic definition. You can kind of make them rattle together, and that creates that kind of sound. You can get a similar sound from your false vocal folds where you go but it's from a different place, and that's more kind of in tune with metal singing. I don't feel like that's what she was doing there. I feel like she was doing an arytenoid rattle to get that lovely textured sound out. Her larynx placement's really interesting as well. So I feel like most of it's sitting in mid, which is where your speech would kind of be. But then she is dropping it a little bit to give a little bit more authority and a little bit more depth and roundness to that sound. But then she obviously has to pull that up for when she goes into that higher kind of place. Your larynx is naturally going to want to go up anyway, but it gives that brightness. So she is managing to give her voice so many different colors based on where her larynx is sitting at any one point, and she's doing it not automatically. She is independently moving these things in order to kind of change the character of her voice. Very, very clever. What's happening? I know you're going to hate me for doing this, but the way that she is changing the spread of her lips in order to kind of modify the vowels here is so interesting. These big kind of ha would have more resonance if she dropped her jaw, but she's not wanting that. She's keeping it spread and kind of thinner sounding in order to kind of match what she's doing beforehand in her verses. It's so clever because you're still getting that big round sound, but you're getting this like element of youth off of it, and it's kind of an R&B kind of sound. It's really clever. She's so good. I nearly swore. Nearly. Morissette. Interestingly, they took the reverb off of her mic at the end there, so it's been mixed at some point to kind of do what you would do with, they'll do it with all the instruments, so just kind of make sure that everything's levels are correct and whatnot. And I think at the beginning there was a real quite heavy reverb on her voice, but as she's getting into these more intense places, they've taken the reverb off to make it sound more raw and more kind of impactful. I feel it's more like she's speaking to you directly because there's none of that kind of echo over the top of it. So it's expertly mixed as well as expertly played as well as expertly sung. It's just a room full of experts being experts doing their expert stuff. Amazing. I mean, absolutely no notes. Just fantastic. So I hope you liked that reaction. If you did, please give it a like and a thumbs up down below. And if you want to see more from me, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and anytime I have new content, you will be the first to know. There's definitely some more Morissette videos on my channel. There will be a playlist somewhere probably at the very end, so go and check that out. So I guess all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for joining me. And how are we going to buy this one? I honestly don't know. So I guess all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you will subscribe, and I hope you'll hit like. So basic, but I am very ill. So, yeah, bye. Love you.